Hello everyone, we have just memorized a new book that is called How to Win Every Argument by Madsen Pirie. So this book talks about 79 fallacies and we will just enumerate all of them. We will not go into detail into each one of them. We will talk about that later. So 79 fallacies. Fallacy number 1 is the abusive analogy. Number 2, the accent analogy, fallacy. Fallacy number 3 is the accident fallacy. Fallacy number 4 is the affirming the consequent. In a phrase, in a sentence, you have the antecedent and the consequent. The antecedent is if you assume the phrase with an if-then clause, the if part is the antecedent, the then clause is the consequent. If you affirm the consequent, you are dealing with a fallacy, because let me give you an example. The if I drop an egg, the egg will break. The if part, if I drop an egg, is the antecedent, and the consequent is the egg will break. If I affirm the consequent, I am stating this: the egg is broken, so I must have dropped it. Of course, there are a lot of ways for you to break an egg, not just by dropping it. This affirming the consequent fallacy belongs to a group of non sequitur fallacies. It does not follow, basically, in Latin. Fallacy number 5, amphiboly. Fallacy number 6, analogical fallacy. Fallacy number 7, argumentum ad antiquitatem. Basically, what is old is right. Fallacy number 8, a priorism. Fallacy number 9, argumentum ad baculum, use of force. Fallacy number 10, the bifurcation fallacy. Fallacy number 11, blinding with science, with technical jargon. Fallacy number 12, the false dilemma fallacy, seeing a dilemma where it doesn't exist. Fallacy number 13 is the circulus in probandum fallacy. It has a relationship with the fallacy number 55 that we will talk about in just a minute. Fallacy number 14 is the complex question fallacy. Fallacy number 15 is the composition fallacy. Fallacy number 16 is the concealed quantification fallacy. Fallacy number 17 is the conclusion that contradicts the premises fallacy. Fallacy number 18 is the contradictory premises fallacy. Fallacy number 19 is the argumentum ad crumenum fallacy. Basically, money is a measure of righteousness. Fallacy number 20 is the cum hoc ergo propter hoc fallacy. This means two simultaneous events, or two events that occur simultaneously, are typically assumed that they have some connection, but it may not always be so. Fallacy number 21 is the damning the alternatives fallacy. Fallacy number 22 is the definition retreat. Fallacy number 23 is the denying the antecedent. This is related with the fallacy number 4. That is, for instance, if I eat too much, I will be ill. If I deny the antecedent, I did not eat too much, so I will not be ill. Of course, you may be ill by a lot of different reasons instead of just by eating too much. This was fallacy 23. Fallacy 24 is the dicto simpliciter fallacy, where I try to apply a general rule to every possible case. Fallacy 25 is the division fallacy. Fallacy 26 is the appealing to emotions. Fallacy 27 is the equivocation fallacy. Fallacy 28 is the every schoolboy knows fallacy. Fallacy 29 is the exception that confirms the rule fallacy. Fallacy 30 is the exclusive premises fallacy. Fallacy 31 is the existential fallacy. Fallacy 32 is the ex post facto statistics fallacy. Fallacy 33 is the extensional pruning fallacy. Fallacy 34 is the false conversion fallacy. Fallacy 35 is the false precision fallacy, where you try to measure things like generosity and you supply even percentages of people that are generous, but this is a very subjective kind of thing to measure. Fallacy number 36 is the gambler's fallacy. Fallacy number 37 is the genetic fallacy. Fallacy 38 is the half concealed qualification fallacy. Fallacy number 39 is the hedging fallacy. Fallacy 40 is the argumentum ad hominem. This is the abusive one. And the fallacy 41 is also the argumentum ad hominem, but circumstantial. There are two flavors of this fallacy. Fallacy 42 is the argumentum ad ignorantiam fallacy. Fallacy 43 is the ignoratio elenchi. Fallacy 44 is the illicit process fallacy. Fallacy 45 is the irrelevant humor fallacy. Fallacy 46 is the argumentum ad lapidem. Fallacy 47 is the argumentum ad lazarum. Fallacy 48 is the loaded words fallacy. Fallacy 49 is the argumentum ad misericordiam fallacy. Fallacy number 50 is the argumentum ad nauseam. Fallacy 51 is the argumentum ad novitam. Basically, what is good is what is new. Fallacy 51 is the non-anticipation fallacy. Basically, what is worth doing or saying has already been done or said by someone. This is fallacy number 51. Fallacy number 52 is the argumentum ad novitam, as I said. Fallacy number 53 is the argumentum ad numerum, basically what everyone thinks is right. Fallacy number 54 is the one-sided assessment. Fallacy number 55 is the petitio principii fallacy. This has something to do with circular arguments, as we said in fallacy number 13. Fallacy 56 is poisoning the well fallacy, where you criticize someone and you use it in your argumentation. Fallacy 57 is the argumentum ad populum fallacy. Fallacy 58 is the positive conclusion deriving from negative premises. This is fallacious. Fallacy number 59 is the post hoc ergo propter hoc fallacy, that is similar to the cum hoc ergo propter hoc fallacy that we saw in the fallacy number 20, but fallacy 59 is post hoc. It deals with events that occur one after the other. It is assumed that they have some causal relationship, but it may not be so. Fallacy number 60 is the quaternio terminorum. This has to do with the terms that are used in syllogistic proofs. Instead of 3, using 4. Fallacy number 61 is the red herring fallacy, introduced to divert from the main thesis something. Fallacy 62 is refuting the example fallacy, and you do nothing to refute the main thesis. Fallacy 63 is the reification fallacy. Fallacy 64 is the runaway train fallacy. Fallacy 65 is the secundum quid fallacy, where you try to generalize over just 1 or 2 examples. Fallacy 66 is the shifting grounds fallacy. Fallacy 67 is the shifting the burden of proof fallacy, where you assume something and you don't prove it, and you challenge someone to prove that you are wrong. So you shift the burden of proof to the person that is hearing what you are just defending. Fallacy 68 is the slippery slope fallacy, where a certain step a first step in a certain direction will inevitably make you go all the way down and travel all of the distance. So just a small step in a certain direction doesn't oblige you to go all the way in. So fallacy 69 is the double standard fallacy, the special pleading fallacy. You are one case, the others are other case. Fallacy number 70 is the straw man fallacy, where you have a main thesis and you transform this main thesis into something that is with special weaknesses for you to knock out, but you have just knocked out this transformed version of the main thesis, not the main thesis. So you are beating up a straw man. This was fallacy 70. Fallacy 71, argumentum ad temperantiam, the middle way, the moderate way may not always be the best way. Argumentum, fallacy number 72, that is Thatcher's blame. It has to do with Margaret Thatcher and whether things go wrong or go right. Margaret Thatcher always takes the blame. So you are blamed for having a cat or for not and for not having it. That's what we say here in Portugal. Fallacy number 72, this. Fallacy number 73, the trivial objections rule fallacy, where you refute and object trivial things and not the main thesis. Fallacy number 74 is the tu quoque fallacy, where someone tries to attack you and say you have just done X and Y, and you respond, yeah, but you have just done Y and Z, and so you don't try to refute what you have just done. You don't try to refute the thesis. You go by stating, yeah, I have done something, but you have done also something, and this is not really. This is the tu quoque. In Latin is and you too. So fallacy 74. Fallacy 75 is the unaccepted anthem. An anthem is something that both arguee and arguer are knowing. They both know and they assume that is true, but it may so if you have an argumentation that is based on anthems, they may not always be true. That is something that is assumed, but an anthem is something that may not always be true. So fallacy number 75. Fallacy 76 is the undistributed middle. This has to do with the whole objects of all subjects of a certain class, and then you particularize with some subjects of a certain class in the conclusion. So this has a middle term in syllogistic proofs that may get undistributed, and then what you are trying to state is fallacy. This is fallacy 76. 77 is the unobtainable perfection. You cannot use perfection as an argument because it is unobtainable, whatever the argument. Fallacy 78 is the argumentum ad verecundiam fallacy, is the false authority. So pick your authorities in your arguments very wisely. And finally, fallacy number 79, the wishful thinking fallacy. So don't use your wishes as truth, use facts as truth. Well, and these were the 79 fallacies. I have not gone into very deep detail into each one of them. We can do so later on, but this was just for you to state that, to see that it's possible really to memorize the whole book and what it tries to say. So follow us on YouTube and on Instagram, and we will soon have a Patreon page where we can discuss all of the process that we normally use to really memorize the book. The process is based on Fonseca Method. You can learn more on our course, Human 3.0 Super Memory course on Udemy. So thanks a lot, and I'll see you in the next memorization. Thank you.